If you want cheap Microsoft points and game codes, check out g2a.com, link is in the description below.
Hey guys, it's Melvin7 here, and today I'm bringing you my Premier League predictions for Matchday 13. Now, in the last episode, I did get 9 points and the Mystery C got 6. The best result that I predicted was the Manchester United one. I said 2-1 to Manchester United. It finished 2-1. So yeah, let's get straight into this. So, the first game for this week is going to be at the Hawthorns. It's going to be West Brom taking on Arsenal. Now, this is going to be a very interesting game, in my opinion. It's the early kickoff, and Arsenal don't tend to do well on early kickoffs, as their fans will probably remember. I don't need to go over the Chelsea and Liverpool games that happened last season when it kicked off at 12:45. West Brom are on good form. They just got beat by Chelsea, but it's Chelsea and they held them 2-0, even though Chelsea did have a ridiculous first half display. But still, I can see West Brom getting something from this. Obviously, Arsenal, full of confidence from the 2-0 victory at Dortmund, determined to get back into it, considering they did lose against us. So, I'm going to say 2-2, to be honest. I can't see Arsenal winning this. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if they did. But, I don't know, I just think early kickoffs just don't agree with Arsenal. So, 2-2 for me. In the next game, we've got Burnley taking on Aston Villa. Now, this is a relegation battle at the minute. Aston Villa did start the season very, very well. Obviously, Burnley just beat, I can't remember, 2-1. But Danny Ings scored 2 goals within 2 minutes. So, maybe they're starting to find their scoring mojo a bit, especially with Ings returning. Aston Villa have got Benteke back. Try and remember their last game. I literally, for the life of me, cannot think. I'm being retarded here. I believe they won. I'm just having a mind fuck. But anyway, whatever. Aston Villa, you know, looking stronger than what they have. Actually, I think they drew, didn't they? I just can't remember. But yeah, this game, interesting to be honest. You know, because Burnley did get back to their scoring ways, I think Burnley are going to edge this, and I'm going to say 1-0. I don't think it's going to be a high scoring game at all, so Burnley to win 1-0 in my opinion. The next game, we've got Liverpool up against Stoke. Now, Liverpool have lost their last 4 games in the league. They also drew 2-2 against Ludogorets, throwing it away right at the death of that game. So, they're not on great form, but Stoke haven't been doing too well either. That's who Burnley beat. It was Stoke. 2-1. So, for this game, again, I think like last week, I predicted it would be 0-0. And obviously, between the Liverpool one and obviously they lost 3-1 to Crystal Palace. So, you know what? I'm going to say Stoke are going to edge this 1-0 just because I just don't think Liverpool, not just because I'm a United fan, I just can't see them getting anything with the performances they're putting in recently. Maybe if they play players like Emre Can and Markovic, they might actually win this. But if they don't, I'm going to say 1-0 Stoke. That's my prediction. Next game is my team Manchester United versus Hull. Now, as I'm a Manchester United fan, this one probably will go on for a little bit longer, as I said in the previous episode. So basically, personally, I think for the first time, we're going to play the same back 5. I know Luke Shaw's injured, but Ashley Young played the majority of that game. Or back 3 with wing-backs, whatever you want to call it. Personally, I think it's a 5-2-1-2, but people seem to think it's a 3-5-2. So whatever. So personally, I would go with the same back 5, which is David De Gea, Valencia, Smalling, McNair, Blackett. Then I'd have Young on the left wing-back because he played so well in pre-season and in the game against Arsenal as the left wing-back. I would have Fellaini and Herrera, who is back. He scored a goal in the under-21s when we won 5-0 against Blackburn, which is brilliant. Getting his match fitness back, he played the full game. Then I'd have Di Maria, Rooney, and Falcao if fit. But if not, James Wilson, RVP benched, I'm afraid, because he did nothing against Arsenal. And I was expecting him to, since it's Arsenal. He usually does do well. But he's just lost his legs. So, for me, the only threats for us, for Hull, are probably Dawson, Huddleston and Diarmi. If we've got presences like Fellaini there, maybe Carrick or Herrera. I've said Herrera personally because I do want to see him back, but hopefully, you know, he's not rushed in. So I'm going to say 4-0 United. I'm going to be very, very bold. We need these points. It's at Old Trafford, and hopefully the result against Arsenal kickfires our season. So I'm going to say 4-0 United. The next game, QPR versus Leicester. Now, QPR have been really, really unlucky recently. You know, they've had some hard fixtures. They've looked really, really good. Leicester, on the other hand, I think they recently got a win. So, I think that's the first time they've scored since they put 5 past us. So, again, this one's going to be maybe a relegation battle towards the end, but I think QPR will stay safe this season. So for me, even though Leicester will probably have that confidence boost, I think that QPR are going to nip this. They need a result. I mean, their performances merit at least 3 points. So I'm going to say 2-0 for QPR against Leicester. And the next game is Swansea versus Palace. Now, Palace are going to be buoyed by their, whatever the expression is, for their victory against Liverpool 3-1. Brilliant game to play. Swansea, on the other hand, they beat Arsenal. Then who did they play after that? Sorry, my mind is just completely fucked in the minute. But anyway, they're playing really, really well. They've got Sigurdsson. They've got Boney, who's in form. That goal they scored, I can't even remember who it was against, but that ball, whoever it was, to Boney, such a nice goal. It was City, wasn't it? Yeah, it was City. They lost. Okay, they lost against City, but it was a close game. If it wasn't for Shelby's deflected free kick, they would have got a goal because it just went wide. So they're playing really, really well. So personally for me, this is going to be a draw. I reckon 1-1. Probably Boney getting on the score sheet, and maybe Balassi or oh my god, I've completely forgot the guy who scores against Liverpool all the time, Gale. That's it. Maybe him getting on the score sheet, but we'll see. The next game is West Ham versus Newcastle. Now, Newcastle and Southampton this month have ridiculously hard runs of games, so it's make or break time for both teams. West Ham are obviously doing really, really well. I think they're 6th, Newcastle are 5th. I could be wrong, but West Ham are up there. So, you know, it's going to be a very interesting game. Pardew's won 5 on the bounce, which no team, including Chelsea, has done in the BPL this season. So, Newcastle, great confidence going through the team. They've been struck with a lot of injuries, though. So, for that reason, I'm going to say West Ham are going to pip this 3-2. I think it's going to be a high-scoring game again because it just, you know, when Newcastle play, they generally do have high-scoring games recently. So I'm going to say 3-2 West Ham, but I wouldn't be surprised either way what the score is. Now, the next game is Sunderland versus Chelsea. Chelsea are just ridiculous this season. They've got such a good team. You know, people say Costa carries them. That is bullshit. Against Schalke, Costa didn't even score. They had 5 scorers. Fair enough, one was for a Schalke own goal, but still, Costa didn't even score that game. Sunderland, on the other hand, you know, they haven't been anything special, but recently they've performed a little better than they did at the start of the season, so they're starting to pick it up. And last season, they did manage to beat Chelsea, but obviously the Chelsea of last season is completely different to the Chelsea of now. Now, I wouldn't be surprised if Sunderland get a shock result here and get a draw, but for me, I'm just going to have to go with the quality of Chelsea, and I'm going to have to say 2-0 to Chelsea. Don't think it's going to be an absolute demolition job, but I think it's going to be a fairly comfortable win for them. Now, the next game is the big game of the week. It is Southampton versus Manchester City. Now, Aguero has saved City so much this season, none so more than the Bayern Munich game that they won 3-2. You know, if he's on form, Southampton have got a lot to answer to. Now, before the Bayern Munich game, I honestly wanted, well, I didn't. I wanted a draw. But if I had to pick a team to win, again, I don't know. I don't know who I would have wanted because I want to catch Southampton, who are 7 points ahead of us. But City are rivals, and they're also 6 points ahead of us. So a draw would be a perfect result. Now, Southampton, I believe, will get Europa, but they're not going to finish in the Champions League places. They've got a hard run of fixtures. They've got Arsenal after City, then us. So it doesn't get any easier, and I think they've got Everton as well. They've also got Burnley, so maybe they'll get points against that. But they've been high-flying. Obviously, they did draw against Aston Villa, which I did predict. I said 2-2, but it was 1-1. So I'm going to say this is going to finish 2-2. I reckon it's going to finish a draw. That's more hopeful than anything. I mean, this one's hard to predict, to be honest. I generally do believe Southampton do have enough quality. However, I do think they will lose against Arsenal and Manchester United, but that's for the next episode, I suppose. So, 2-2 for that game. The last game of this week is also a very, very interesting one. It's two teams that have been underperforming. However, Everton, Spurs versus Everton, by the way. However, Everton recently have looked really, really solid. Spurs, on the other hand, have thrown away games. It's just been ridiculous. If it hadn't been for Eriksen late on in the last game, they would have got beaten. So, and also, both teams have Europa today when I'm recording this, which is Thursday, but Spurs usually have a Europa hangover, whereas Everton don't. So for me, sorry, For me, Everton are going to win this 2-0. Even though they're away at White Hart Lane, Spurs haven't looked anything good at White Hart Lane this season. So, for me, Everton are going to win this 2-0. Sorry, my throat. Oh my god, I've got such a bad cough. But anyway, that is my predictions. Let me know what yours are. This has went on for a little bit longer than what I thought. But yeah, as I want to analyse them as much as I can, that is why. So hopefully you did enjoy. Let me know your predictions as always. And yeah, actually, we'll get on to the Mystery C's prediction. We'll quickly go through them, compare them, and then we'll end this video off as usual. Right, so as you can see, he has got fairly different results, to be honest. He thinks Arsenal are going to beat West Brom, thinks Villa are going to beat Burnley, which is a contrast to me. He thinks that Liverpool are going to beat Stoke, again, complete contrast. He thinks that we will beat Hull City, but we'll concede and it will only be by 3-1. QPR versus Leicester, the exact same score there, 2-0 QPR. He also thinks that Swansea and Palace will draw, but he said 2-2. West Ham, he said that they will beat Newcastle as well, but 2-1, not 3-2. Thinks that Chelsea will do a demolition job against Sunderland 4-0, obviously as he's a Chelsea fan. He also thinks that Southampton will beat City. I hope that happens, but I've said 2-2 obviously. And then he thinks that Everton will beat Spurs, but it'll be 2-1. So yeah, this will be fairly interesting. Hopefully I can beat him again, get my score nice and high. So yeah, hopefully you did enjoy, and peace.